And that's always a great event, and it's a pet-friendly 5K, so people can bring their well-behaved dogs, and the dogs can run it with them, and if they come dressed in costumes, and we actually do a costume contest with the animals. So it's just, we try to have our events be both an enjoyable community event so that more people are encouraged to engage, and so there's lots of opportunities, and we love cosplaying groups. Like, I'm a huge geek, and I've got friends in Arizona Avengers, Justice League of Arizona, and in the 501st Legion, so we're happy to engage cosplayers.
And well, Comic-Con's coming up in just a few weeks. Because we always go. We have costumes and lightsabers and stuff.
Is mine considered a costume? It's basically a white bodysuit with a
It's a costume. Okay,
cheap
it's a costume.
belt and a cheap gun.
It's
and
still
boots.
a costume. And you have boots, yes. And a lightsaber
It's
on your
still a
costume.
white bodysuit.
Yeah, I know. So when
But
talking
it's still
about
fun.
yeah, it is
It
a lot
is-
of fun.
it's totally
it is a lot
fun.
of fun. So let me think. Oh, I'm trying
Don't do
not to
that.
think because it is the weekend now.
That hurts.
But so I mean, you guys have a website and everything that you
It
guys
is
can.
Friday.
Yeah, that it is, and it's Cinco de Mayo. So
Yes, we do have a website, and we actually just redesigned our website, so we hope that it's a useful resource for people, and so they can get a lot more information about domestic violence, sexual violence, the programs we have, and also useful resources both here in Arizona as well as national resources. And so you can access that at www.CAAFA, which is spelled CAAFA, AZ is in Arizona.org. So we encourage people to go there. Right now, it's only in English. We're actually looking at having a Spanish language translation too. So I've got a friend who's a web designer, and he's working on getting that put through. So hopefully that'll be through soon. But for now, definitely go check out the website and learn more.
yeah, because I mean, it really would be good to have it bilingual. Because we found out running for office that it was good to have English and Spanish information, because some people may not read English very well, and it makes more sense to see it in their own language, especially when stuff as important as this. Now, I guess the next question I have is, when people come to you and are become active in your organization and are needing your services and stuff like that, is this all paid for through donations and stuff? I mean, do people, if they have insurance, does that help cover some of the coverage, or how does that work?
No, so we are entirely supported through grants, private donations, individual donations, and just organizational support. So none of our services have a cost associated with them. They're free to anyone who's experiencing any type of family abuse. And so I actually have a brilliant grants manager on staff who, helps with kind of diversifying our funding sources. And so we're always looking for new opportunities to engage corporate and foundation support, and also to engage individual donors who feel that the work we do is important and that it's worth supporting in the community. But no, all of our services are free. We are not a behavioral health facility, so we have no tie to insurance companies. So it's all free services to the people who need it most.
Yeah, and that's, realistically, that's the way it needs to be, because, they may not have the ability to afford the care they need. Obviously, if this started back in the 90s, where this organization has been very successful. Now, Apache Junction now is way bigger than it was back then.
Yes, it certainly is.
So have you seen, with the growth of the area, have you seen the what's the good word for it, or has the need for your services grown with it, or is it, are they not linked?
So what I would say, because our service area isn't just Apache Junction, it's, like I said, all of East Maricopa County and all of Pinal County. So within those service areas, we have both very rural areas and, growing areas like Apache Junction. But domestic violence doesn't discriminate. And sometimes, we get survivors who come to us from places that people wouldn't even think of, like to take it into the area of sexual violence. We get sex trafficking victim referrals from many family advocacy centers, and you'd be amazed at how widespread sex trafficking is, not just in cities, but in extremely rural communities. And so I would say, I wouldn't say that it's increased with the growth of Apache Junction, other than just the fact that with there being a higher number, statistically, there's always a higher number who also are experiencing domestic or sexual violence.
Right. Yeah, because I have a family member who's actually has a company that deals with sex trafficking and training people how not to be taken. And we had some experience with what is it called, the rat race, I think is what it was called, in Scottsdale a couple of years ago, where they were trying to raise money for domestic violence awareness and this, that, and the other, or actually for sex trafficking in the area. And it's one of the links that's really sad is that when you have your big sports organizations come to Arizona or wherever, that's when you really start seeing a rise in sex trafficking, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, and we certainly see that. When the Final Four was in town, we got 4 sex trafficking referrals. So
it was the same with the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Sometimes when there are those events. So that was actually Final Four, because the Final Four was just here in Phoenix.
Right.
And so we got a couple referrals from Mesa and Scottsdale, the Super Bowl as well. However, even outside of those events, the greater Phoenix area is in the top 20 for sex trafficking cities in the United States. The rate, sex trafficking is extremely widespread in this area. And the really sad fact of the matter is most of the people that are being trafficked are people who have experienced some other type of abuse. Like 70 to 90% of children who are trafficked experience sexual abuse prior to them being trafficked. And one thing that, we've worked with our partners on, and one partner that I'd love to highlight is Maricopa Police Department, who have been really kind of one of the front runners in the human trafficking area in Pinal County. They recognized that it was a huge issue, and they were seeing that with runaway teens, 1 out of every 3 teens who were running away were lured into sex trafficking within 48 hours of leaving their home. And so a lot of times they're fleeing abuse or they're fleeing some other situation, and then they end up being trafficked. So it's a really sad situation.
Yeah, and it's amazing how linked it is with, family domestic abuse and stuff like that, and sex trafficking, how they kind of all interconnect in a way. It's definitely a problem.
Not uncommon for us to have. It's not uncommon for us to have people in our shelter who have experienced domestic violence, sexual violence, and sex trafficking.
This is horrible. So when you want to get people to help, okay, now is there on your website, is there lists of, like we were talking about laundry detergent and such, is there lists of needs? What kind of things are, the most needed, so that people can actually go to the website, say, okay, these are the things that, okay, I can provide some of this, and this, as an informational thing, so that people can actually know what you guys actually need, as opposed to just showing up and throwing a whole bunch of stuff on your doorstep.
Yes, there are. So if you go to the website, first off, when you pull up the CAFA page, there's a Donate Now button right there for monetary donations. And then if you look at the tabs along the front, it goes Home, About Domestic and Sexual Violence, Access Services, and then the fourth one is Donate. And if you click on there, it has information about monetary donations, tax credit donations, plan giving, third-party events, and right at the bottom there is in-kind donations. And we have a whole list of different in-kind donations that we need. And we also have a wish list on Amazon. So that makes it nice and easy. Is, if you're shopping on Amazon for something else, you can actually go on there, check out our wish list, and send something directly to us. And actually along that line as well, we are an Amazon Smile agency. So if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can donate, or you can designate an agency of your choice, and a percentage of every purchase that you make on Amazon goes to that charity.
That was going to be my next question.
Multiple ways.
Because yeah, I've seen
and then
a few of the smiles.
We also keep a yeah, and you can also get a physical list as well. We always keep an updated physical list of our in-kind donation wish list. And so if you happen to be in the area and just want to come by and chat, usually my senior admin assistant, Vanessa, is right up there up front, and she can kind of talk to you about our needs, and she's amazing. So I always suggest coming in and chatting with my team, because it's a really great team here at CAFA.
So I guess another question would be, do you guys do kind of like outreach to like the high school here in AJ or any of the high schools in the area?
So we do outreach to the schools. The one we've been closest with this year is actually the Avalon Elementary School, which is a local K-8 charter school. And the way we got tied into them is their student council asked us to come present. And I guess a former student council member had to flee the city due to domestic violence, so it hit very close to home. And another thing I found out talking with them is, this is a K-8 school, and a lot of within that student council, there were people who talked about adolescent dating violence that they had seen amongst their peers. So we actually try to target not just high school, but also middle school level students, because it's really not just teen dating violence, it's adolescent dating violence.
Right.
So we've been working closely with them. Avalon School actually did a great drive for us, and we host our holiday house there in their multi-purpose room. And then at Apache Junction High School, probably the group that's been most involved with us there was the junior ROTC. Like, they've helped us with multiple projects. We haven't done a recent presentation there, but I'm actually hoping to put together a high school teen dating violence curriculum within the local schools within the next year. So that's something we're looking at doing in the future.
Yeah, because it makes a lot of sense to actually kind of, try to educate people before they end up in a situation like that, as opposed to afterwards. Maybe helping them, kind of prevent them from being in that situation by giving them education. So that's always a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and February was Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and so we did a lot of awareness materials on our Facebook page and on our Twitter. And so a lot of that we kind of targeted like healthy relationship training, training people what is a healthy relationship, what does it look like, what are some of the warning signs that you're not in a healthy relationship. Then you can also get that information on our website under the About Domestic Violence and Sexual Violence. There's a link that says, what is teen dating violence? Mm-hmm. And it goes into quite a bit of that and has some useful resources for talking to your own teenager or to your own preteen about what a healthy relationship is and, what to do if they think that they're in an unhealthy relationship.
And I think that's good for preventative. As a preventative, to prevent them from being sucked into it. Now, I mean, when you're dealing with some of the families, are they mostly? I mean, it's really hard these days because families are made up of so many different types of situations. Whether it's be they don't have a lot of money. and so that may be part of the reason for the domestic violence is frustration, etc. Not that it's acceptable, but that's could be what it is, part of it.
Yeah.
Do you deal